Okay, so I'm on the driveway. I had shown, I think it was yesterday, um, I was showing that we needed to cut some um, stumps that were leaning in toward the driveway because we've not been able to get well water up here. Well rig um, doesn't seem to, it won't be able to make it up our driveway. So we had to get some tree stumps that were logged several years ago, and we had to get those cut. They were leaning in toward the driveway. So we made a call to a local nearby, and he came out and cut these logs for us. So you can see that's a pretty big tree that's right there. We had a chainsaw, but it was just not quite big enough to go around that, so we decided to get someone else to come and cut those down for us. So we had a total of 5 trees that needed to be cut. There's another one. These are just huge trees. Just put my foot down there to show comparison. I have to keep pulling back my camera. There was part of that stump that was up there. Walking on back down here. There's one. These are just ginormous. Ginormous. And there's one right there. Just walking on down the driveway. Down there's a orange X that we had marked. That was the 5th one right there that we had cut. So there were a total of 5. So that's definitely going to help out with us getting well water up here. And then we put down approximately 32 tons of stone yesterday. So that's going to help out. But we still have at least 3/4, no, our driveway is half a mile long. So we still got a long ways to go because this is just part of the driveway. Okay. It's tilted a little bit, isn't it? Love you too. How far down you going? Okay. All right, time for some scraping of the driveway. Okay, so we're back on the driveway up here at a different part. This is closer to the house. So he's going to try to use the scrape and clean up a little bit of that where it's washed out and there's lots of rocks showing. He did create this little swale or diversion, as he calls it, right here, so that water can run down to where he's pushed up that pile of dirt right there, and it kind of goes on down into that little valley. We have a lot of work to do out here. As I'd mentioned before, this land out here was harvested several years ago for the pine that was on it, and left behind in the aftermath is just a bunch of trees that are down. There's trees everywhere, tree stumps that are left everywhere. It's a lot to do out here, and it's going to take us quite a while to get it all done. Just going to take a lot of time and a lot of work, but we enjoy it up here, and we enjoy spending the time together. So we just make the best of it and enjoy this outside life. The great outdoors at Liberty Hill. That's what we call our little piece of paradise here, is we call it Liberty Hill. So I came on down the driveway a little bit, and you can see where the rain has washed out these different ruts here in the driveway. It really doesn't look too bad right now compared to what it has in the past. There has been times to where some of these ruts were probably 1.5 feet deep, at least 1.5 feet. So it's not too bad right now, but it still makes for a pretty bumpy road coming up the driveway. If anybody has any ideas for all this brush and briars, and it's everywhere. If anybody has any ideas on what to do or how's the best way to control or get these things under control, we are all ears. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. We call this whole property of ours up here, we call it Liberty Hill. And when we were looking, we happened to find this rock. There's lots of rock up here, but it's in the perfect shape of an L. That's just the way we found it. So I had my husband pick it up, and we put it here next to this big old oak tree. That's a big, beautiful tree. Here he comes. He had some trouble with the pins, with the box scrapes. I don't know, the pins, I don't know, I think we need a smaller pin or some bolts or something on there. So Mike's down there. Looks like he's trying to widen it a little bit. Maybe try to angle it a little bit, the driveway. I think he's wanting to try to put a little crown in it so that it rolls off. The water, when it rains, it'll roll off to the sides. And try not to make this rut right in the center. The power lines are underground, and when they ran power to the house, they ran the power lines in the middle of the driveway all the way up. So now every time it rains, it tries to wash out where the power line is. So he's going to try to build that up and make a crown in it in the driveway so that it runs off. And he's trying to widen the driveway a little bit too, make it a little easier for the well rigs to get up here. This is where he's started, right up here, and you can see where he scraped down one side of the driveway, and the other side he hasn't yet. So he's getting close to me, so I need to back up a little bit and get out of his way. Can I help you do something?
No. Okay.
What in the world?
Oh.
I think it's definitely time to upgrade to a bigger tractor. I think we got enough to do out here on this land where we need a bigger tractor. In due time. I'm standing down here on the driveway on part of it up here closer to the house. As we look up the hill, you can barely see our house up there through the woods. But it's as you see, there's lots of stumps, lots of trees, logs laying everywhere. Thousands of pine trees, just thousands and thousands of pine trees coming back up where they were harvested years ago. I think I'm going to walk back up here to the truck because we have cameras out here on the land and we know there's bears out here, and I don't like to just be standing out here by myself knowing there's bears around. And we also spooked up about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, over there on Yellow Jacket Hill. There's an old barn over there. It needs work on it too. It probably won't never be used for much of anything, but you can tell by looking inside of it, it was hatched out with, I guess, like a hand axe or something. You can see the hatch marks in it where it was not run through a mill. But when one day me and my husband were over there, me and Mike were over there. We spooked something up out of the woods, and it was not a deer, it was not a bear, but we are 99% certain it was a mountain lion. So, and we have also caught it also on our trail cameras out here. And we've, right there in that little opening, we have seen a bear up there. We've seen bears cross right through here where I'm standing. So I'm getting back in the truck. Well, it's starting to get a little dark out here. It doesn't look like it so much on the camera, but it is starting to get a little dark. So I think this will probably be his last pass before he calls it quits for today. And then we'll go in the house and rest a little bit. Well, maybe he changed his mind. Yep, I'd say so. He's been out here working until dark at times. He'll put his little head lantern on and he'll just keep on going. He loves it out here. There's a deer right there on the other side of those woods. That brush. There it is. Another one. Oh, there's four deer right there. How cool was that? 4 deer just walked back there behind the truck. Okay, so this is the driveway after Mike's roughed it in a little bit. Just kind of rolling. We're just kind of cruising through in the truck down the mountain. It's a little bumpy. Getting a little antenna in there. But it's a whole lot better than it was. There's not any big ruts in there. I'm not sure if it's picking up on camera. You can see where he's built a little bit of a swell. I mean a crown in the center of the driveway. Not sure how noticeable it is on the camera. So he was able to do this and widen it a little bit too with the box scrape and that John Deere tractor. Well, not the box scrape, it was just a scrape. Now we're getting on to part of the original foundation of the old logging road. It's got a pretty hard foundation. It's held up pretty good. Yeah, it's got a good base.